Yo, what's good? Good morning. How's it going? So today in the workshop, it's got a little bit of a mess, but also some progress. Check it out. The X-axis is like largely complete. Well, I'm gonna say complete, like air quotes complete. I got these belts set up, which was actually quite a pain to put together inside of this channel. Like the little channel in between this rail. This is a 2020 rail. I don't know if y'all can see the depth of that all right, but yeah, I'll shoot probably a little bit of video explaining how I got this done, but I had to build a little bit of rig and use some patience to get it up. But it's looking good. I mean, they got the Z-axis is in place. I got motor hooked up so it'll go up and down. I'll demonstrate later. And then this guy obviously is in place and hooked up into these motors. So it's time to put the frame together and they'll tackle the Y-axis, which is surely going to be entertaining. So here's the problem and the question. This 2020 rail, it's the part of the frame. I need to get this, piece of belt to feed through it. And it needs to feed through and be able to spin around those little gears. So it needs to be able to like loop in on itself. I need a place where I can rejoin the belt basically to hold it together. But it also needs to fit in between this channel, right? And then connect to, this guy basically. This is an extra one, right? So it took me a second to figure that one out. Not forever, but a little bit of time. The solution I ended up coming up with was, well, I'm going to need to drive something through this belt, right? So if I loop the belt over on itself, make a little jig, use 3 nails to drive through the belt, then what I can do is attach the belt to some plastic that I printed out and modeled, which you can see in the CAD, and that will fit in between this channel. So that's basically how I ended up solving that particular issue. And for the Z-axis, like I said, it is functional right now. Well, functional in the fact that it mechanically works. I haven't hooked up the electronics just yet, but if you can look at it carefully, this little black piece on top, you can see that when I turn this thing, it is in fact going up and down. So mechanically this thing is complete, which is awesome. I need to trim these things, and I got some questions about if I want to come back and maybe redesign this so it isn't just one point, so it doesn't like turn. But in theory, these motors should be driving these guys in step, like these are both move literally at the same time, and there's enough power to go ahead and drive it. So for the demo, I think this is totally fine, to be honest. I guess back to you. Hey, thanks. So obviously the next step here is just like, putting the rig together, right? So I gotta build a frame. This will take several hours, more so than you would think. Like, you hate putting together that IKEA project. Like, it may just be a shelf, but God, it's gonna take a second. It's like that, except for you have to be responsible for the squareness and thinking ahead of how to put it together. So you know how that's gonna go. Anyways, I'll get it done. So that'll be, the part of that will be in the next video. The thing after that is very entertaining. So the way that this thing is designed, or I've designed it, like, we have, these parallel rods in the machine, right, that are going to be feeding the cardboard in by rotating, right? These 2 rods are holding it in between the, the cardboard is in between these 2 rods. Anyways, so this fundamentally is nice because it's got a, really long surface area. It's going to have some, torque resistance, so the cardboard doesn't want to, like, yaw and turn or whatever in it. So that's great. One of the challenges, however, is, I'm using 3D printed parts. As I almost lose that. So these 3D printed parts, they have dimensional tolerances. So like basically the thing that I design in the CAD may be exactly, 1 inch by 1 inch, but when I print it out, it's not going to be that way, right? There's going to be inconsistencies that show up. There are different ways to deal with that, like printing factors or whatever. But at large, at the overarching view, it's an issue for me for my setup at the moment. But I've already figured out how to address this, and I've like done a prototype for myself just to demonstrate that it works before I got this far in the process. But basically, to show you what, illustrate a little bit further what the issue actually is let's imagine this part right here isn't totally round, which it's not. And this is the pipe that needs to fit into it. Imagine it's thicker. I'm just using this for a demonstration. If this thing is not aligned in this correctly, right, when this rotates, those pipes are they're gonna bind, they're gonna have gaps, it's gonna cause the paper to torque and let it slide, like it'll really have all kinds of problems. I made a design that, despite these things not being dimensionally quite accurate enough to really have, that level of precision necessary that when you rotate it, naturally it would align. I designed some pieces to be able to be adjusted enough to be able to come back into alignment. It isn't like brain rocket surgery, but to be honest, I failed doing this so many times. Like I was telling someone a while ago, I may have spent 2 weeks of my life easily confronting very similar issues to this and other projects that I just could not get to work. So when I got this demo working correctly, where it was like all centered and like everything rotated nicely, I was like, yes, it was a major moment. I know like y'all are like, come on, man, it just needs to be straight, just do it right. But you know, reality is often more difficult than you'd like it to be. Yeah. Anyways, I guess that's kind of it for today, and I'll let you know. I'll shoot another video as I assemble more of this rig together, and I really just look forward to getting that Y-axis together with those rods. It's going to be pretty neat, and then from there we can get onto some pretty exciting stuff of actually cutting out things in the cardboard. So yeah, have a good one. Peace.